our mission is purely educational and for networking and for women to just get together in a professional setting and learn something new, okay, whether it's about health or how to, dress for success, those types of things. So again, we're not a charity, we're not doing any fundraising, and we are basically a networking educational organization here. And so we would love for you to join us. We have basically a planning committee, and we plan our next speakers and our next events. We just, in November, had a girls' conference where we had high school girls attend, and they had an amazing experience. It was up at ONU's the Inn at ONU, and we had all different women here from Hardin County, and then a nationally recognized speaker come and talk about confidence and just how to present yourself and market yourself. So she was an inspiration to those girls. But we have all different kinds of workshops, from learning about social media to something like this, where we're hearing from local women that are doing really amazing things. So our first speaker tonight is Jodi Ledley, and I had the pleasure of reading her book, which was a very inspirational story to me. I have also suffered from migraines in the past, and so it really rang true to me about just eating right, being conscious of what you're putting in your body and where you're putting yourself in your environment. So I don't want to take any more time or away from her presentation tonight, but I want to give her a warm welcome. Please welcome.
Thanks, everyone. I am so excited to share my story tonight. Everyone hear me? Am I loud enough? Okay. I saw 19 doctors and went through $70,000 trying to find a cause of my migraines. Most women in my family had migraines. We had the hormonal migraine diagnosis. So before they got really bad, the treatment was birth control pills, regular migraine medication. But at some point, something triggered those normal migraines into severe, debilitating migraines. So to try to get relief from those, I ended up getting Botox. And I had to search that treatment out myself. No one recommended that. It did help, but I got 30 shots in the head, face, and neck every 3 months for 2.5 years. It did wear off, and it wasn't the good Botox. Okay? It wasn't. It looked great. It was your face can't move and you're loudly functioning. So after the Botox wore off, I moved on to electric valley pain management, where I got 6 levels of nerve sperm in my neck. They thought that my problem may be I have herniated discs. I have 1 fusion, and I have 3 more herniated discs. So they were trying to burn those nerves. Well, I got that done, and I got it done without anesthesia because my insurance would pay for it. So imagine, being on the operating table, you've got shrouds over your head, beep, 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 hold still. Sometimes it didn't work. It didn't have any effect on me whatsoever. There were many other things that I tried. Neurosurgeons to get more surgery on my neck. They didn't want to fuse my neck, the whole neck, because of my age. I did end up going to Michigan Head and Neck Institute. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but it's a world-renowned place in Michigan, and it was an 8-hour appointment, so I had high hopes. Lots of specialists there. It was $1,500 out of my pocket. I had to pay $300 for a psychotherapist visit as well. That was mandatory. And even getting there was rough. The roads were rough. My body felt like it was going to shatter into a million pieces. So I left there with not one new idea of what could fix me. So that brings me to, the microphone must be working here and there. I had another appointment that week. I had a neurosurgeon appointment, no info there. Went back to pain management, and as a last resort, they offered a neurostimulator implant to my spinal cord. It gets fed through a lead up through your spinal cord there. That silver piece you see, it's like a giant stopwatch. It gets implanted under your butt cheek right here, And that thing that looks like a cell phone is a remote control. You dial up and down to try to control the pain. And I did not accept that. My soul says, I'm still young and ready to have fun and want to enjoy my life, not be tied to this. I later found out that there was a brain that was catching on fire. The little metal piece there was catching on fire with people. So this solution here, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like you're driving in your car and your warning lights go off. You're not just going to unplug the fuse, right? And just hope everything's okay. Pain is a symptom, and you need to find the cause. It's telling you there's something wrong with your body. So what were all of the doctors missing? They were missing something so simple. When I left that day, he said, I don't know why your nerves are all rapid firing. So when I got home, I couldn't speak about it to anyone, but I did Google that because I had to have some other thing to try. I had exhausted every doctor I could possibly think of. Well, what popped up was the word excitotoxins. I'd never heard that word before. That an excitotoxin is something that makes nerves rapid fire. And a common place where you would get that is food additives. So, what I discovered was they told me to avoid MSG. That's one excitotoxin. But they did not tell me that MSG is under at least 70 different names. So, all of those neurologists were missing a huge detail about MSG. Glutamate. Glutamate is the G of the MSG, monosodium glutamate. Your body makes glutamate. It's an important neurotransmitter. It's important for normal nerve function, but in teeny tiny amounts. So the glutamate that's called bound glutamate. The glutamate that is added in with food processing and food additives is called free glutamate. And that glutamate is the same, your body can't tell the difference, but it doesn't know what to do with it, and so you end up with neurological problems. Why is it in our food? It's in the food to make cheap food that doesn't have any nutrients tasty. They put it in there to make you crave the food. That's its whole purpose. So it can be added in as a powder, and it can also be created through high temperature processing. So how do we avoid MSG? This is the list that I live by. And a lot of people think that I just ate clean or ate organic, but that's not what I did. I think those things are extremely important. But what I did was I got rid of this top box first. The things on the top box there always contain MSG. Those can really add up. Many processed foods have several of those ingredients in there. The middle box, those are things that often contain MSG. And the bottom box is for highly sensitive individuals. At first, when I did this, I was consuming a lot of these ingredients all the time. So I had some sort of tolerance. But what I discovered was when I stopped eating them, I could really tell. Some of these that are at the bottom, I could really tell when I got one. So there really isn't anything on there I eat besides citric acid, maybe dextrose. That's about it. There are some regular names on this list, like stock, broth. It's not that eating broth or stock homemade is bad for you. It's what they're doing to it today. It used to be, 16 chickens would make a vat of commercial broth. Now it's 2 and some MSG. So keep that in mind with those ingredients that look like they're not a chemical. Okay. Here are some symptoms that can be caused by MSG. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that have a lot of those. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, everything in color is what our family of 4 got rid of. So my husband got rid of blood pressure, high blood pressure, acid reflux, sinus infections isn't on there, but there's so many things, I tell you. The kids are in the green, and I'm in the red. And I would have never told my doctor all of those symptoms. Who would? I mean, they wouldn't listen to you. I mean, you get past 2 and done. But they're all connected because they're neurological. So it doesn't make sense to be eating neurotoxins. They're affecting people in many ways, and I think they affect me as far as migraines because of my neck damage. My theory is, excitotoxins make nerves rapid fire, but especially where you already have damage. Okay, anxiety's on that list. I'd like to talk about that because I've always felt really calm until that 3 years when I was sick. And I wasn't even sure what to call it. It felt like a chill coming on, and all of a sudden my neck would hurt, and tightness in my shoulders, and kids are getting on my nerves, everything's overwhelming, it turned out to be anxiety, and what I discovered was that anxiety is a symptom of MSG exposure. So if you're eating these, that is a neurological way it can affect you. I was talking to my son about this, and he was telling me, Mom, I don't know hardly any girls that aren't on medications for anxiety, depression, bipolar, OCD, and I thought he was exaggerating, but then I did a Facebook poll, and he was right. He was not exaggerating. It's everyone and their moms, apparently. But what I'd like to say about that is most of the new neurological drugs, they're glutamate blockers. So they're blocking the glutamate that's being added in from the processed foods. So on one side of it, you've got food companies making a lot of money off of cheap food, okay? And on the other side, you have the pharmaceutical industry making a ton of money off blocking the symptoms. So I have seen so many articles about glutamate, and like PTSD for one, the VA knows that excitotoxins make that problem worse, but they're targeting it through drugs instead of telling them not to eat it. Okay, back to us. The summer before we removed these ingredients, my daughter had strep 11 times. She had ear infections. My husband, he would get what we thought were seasonal sinus infections. You'd have to have Z-Pak every year at the same time. My son Justin had asthma, and I had bronchitis. I even had a nebulizer. So that's how that often worked. I know that says 4 years now, but it's been 5 years. Not a single prescription medication. It's been life-changing. And, what's up with the seasonal sinus infection that went away? I don't know. But it leads me to believe that the food we were consuming was hurting our immunity terribly. And then we were adding in nutrient-dense foods that were helping it. Facebook daily. This bug's going around, all these kids are missing school, and you have to wonder, is it them, or has our immunity become so poor? I mean, think of all the people that have Lyme now too. Has that organism changed, or are we just getting, our immunity getting worse and worse? Okay, here's the fun part. That list, I'm sure, looked really overwhelming to a lot of you. So this is your little virtual shopping tour. And here we have 2 types of ice cream. Well, first I should say, we eat all the same foods. We just don't eat them with the chemicals, okay? So we still enjoy food. We enjoy our ice cream. Ice cream on the left is Kroger's. And as you see, it has normal food ingredients. This is Walmart brand. Everything in red is something that affects nerve function. Now, it's important to say, because I think I did, it's not an immediate reaction for me, it's the following day. And it can be up to 36 hours later. So that's why many people don't think that the food additives are their problem, is because they think it should be immediate, and it's not usually. You see a lot of gums on here. So if you are a person that can't have gluten, and you're eating a lot of gluten-free items, there's an area where you can look at for improvement. Maybe not buy the processed gluten-free food. Here's some tortillas. We've got Old El Paso, I used to eat those all the time, but Kroger's has Tortilla Land, which is a lot better. I wish it didn't have the canola oil, and I wish it was organic, but better is better. I did recently find out, Mission has an organic tortilla just like this, and hopefully our Kroger's will get that soon. Okay. This is a good one. This is fed to little children everywhere, and it has a little heart on the package. It's heart healthy. Look at all those ingredients. Oatmeal. You might as well feed them Fruity Pebbles. That's really bad. Okay, so let's look at the flavors. Strawberries and cream. So you take oats. You can even get the instant oats. They're, already chopped up. And add your strawberries and cream. My daughter likes maple syrup, chia seeds, and raw milk. So you can do a lot and just not have all that. Flavor's still just as good, if not better. Maple syrup has a lot of minerals. So you can have your sweet and get some minerals while you're at it. This is the difference in breadcrumbs. It's hard to find a really good breadcrumb, but there's a big difference between both of these. Butter, that's my obstacle to eating out. I really wish there was a place that didn't use fake butter, but it's pretty easy to get the right thing at home. Daisy sour cream. I use a lot of Daisy. This is Kroger brand, and look at all of that in there. So it's so easy. People think that it's a big, huge deal, inconvenience, but really, most of the time, it's just you have several brands lined up. You've got one with a paragraph and one with real food. You just pick that one. That's how you start. You don't need to know all those names on that list at first. At least I didn't. Okay, this one gets me. These are my kids, okay? This is something I wish I could show to every school. Justin, here he is in 4th grade. He had asthma, couldn't run one lap around the yard, constant rashes, constant illness, he had average grades, just the best kid ever. I couldn't understand why he didn't get on the honor roll. Not real motivated. So as soon as we switched to additives, the weight came off, the asthma was gone. He got on the honor roll first time, right after we switched. And he's been on the honor roll every single time. He's 16 now. And the last 2 times it's been all A's. So he told me, he's like, Mom, I didn't even realize I felt that bad. Until he got rid of all that food, it was causing him a problem. My daughter here, I don't know how well you can tell her cheeks are red. And that's kind of how she reacts to food additives. She has a slap cheek look. And the following day, I call them hormonal meltdowns. She sounds like a teenager having a hormonal meltdown. She can't. Everything is, I can't. And I look at her like, whoa, are you feeling okay? And she'll never tell me she's not feeling okay. But I'll say, does your head hurt? Yes. And she'll point to here and here. She will never tell me. But that behavior, if you see your child acting crazy like that, and nothing, you just couldn't get a snap her out of it, it was because she wasn't feeling well. Okay, I kind of feel sad putting this up here. It's a little depressing. When we got rid of all that, one of our daily life was an obstacle, but particularly the school. I like these cupcakes over here. Half the stuff highlighted has been banned in other countries due to asthma in children, hyperactivity, and the other ones are neurotoxins. They affect nerves. There's over 100 ingredients in that. That's a Walmart cupcake. This is the kind of thing that I would buy when I was in a hurry and forgot to get something for a birthday party. So this is your opportunity to never do that again. There's actually a really good cake called Black Magic Cake that I use now, and it takes 10 minutes to put together. Way better than that. You can see the notes here. This one says we have 6 birthday parties this month. That's in kindergarten. So get mad 6 times. And then I think there was a good behavior party, a Christmas party. There was stuff that came home from the bus. Not to mention 4-H. There was a lot of A lot of sweets there. You know, church isn't even safe anymore. I see a lot of church ads that have candy, so I'm gonna pick on them too. Oreo cake for the football team. You know, real athletes don't eat like that. And I take a lot of senior pictures, and I notice, particularly in the athletes, they cannot crouch. They are like, they're so stiff. And I wonder if it's because they're only go so much that they don't ever get home cooked food. I don't know. It's confusing when you have to sell ice cream tubs one week and jump for your heart the next. So this is just an opportunity to maybe do something different next time. You could, things that I've done, I've given away milkweed seeds in little packets, but save the butterflies. And I'm telling you what, when that thing comes up every year, my daughter is so happy. And the little pollinators come around, and now she's got a little water out there. Just warms your heart. Okay. That is how we can change it, is just do something different. Even homemaking a treat for kids leagues better than buying the fresh bakery stuff at the store. It's not fresh, it's frozen in a plum, and then they cook it. Shopping, how can you change it shopping? Just look at the ingredients. You don't even have to know what they are, just look at the length, and it'll direct you in the right way. I have seen, there's a place in town here that serves really delicious pizza that I used to eat, and it had char-resistant pepperoni in it. What is that? Does it have flame retardant? No, that can't be good. So little changes like that can add up to have huge results. Shopping locally, knowing where your food comes from. There's a lot of local producers that have meat for sale, all sorts of things like that. So you guys can do it, because who does all the shopping? It's me who does it. It would be so easy to change this. I would really, really, really love to have a 7-layer burrito from Taco Bell. Has 77 ingredients, by the way. If everyone stopped buying that for one day, all the women, they would be handing us 7-layer burritos that did not have all the junk in it. You have to vote with your money. That's the only way that anyone's gonna listen. This is my book. I felt after I went through this journey, there's no help for migraine people or chronic pain people. You can spend all the money in the world, and you won't find it. I have a smoking pie and a chicken because I hated chickens and I hated cooking. So that's really saying, if I can do this, anyone can. I do have some available. They are $25. The reason that they're $25 is because they cost a little more than that to make. So self-publishing is really expensive, but I just have to share the word, really. It's just been a wonderful, I thought that, you know, eating this way would isolate me from society, but it hasn't. It has been wonderful. And it has just, I feel good every day. I wake up, I don't have pain. I'm expecting pain, and then I wake up and realize, hey, I don't have that anymore. And we have control. We don't have all this money going out to medical, this and that. It's just catching. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? Yes.
If you want to eat, that's what my question is.
Good.
Do you go to just certain places, or do you ask for special items?
This is where you're gonna know I'm really weird. I'm gonna be honest here. I have not ate out in 5 years. And for me, it's just too severe. I mean, I will be violently vomiting, like bursting blood vessels in my eyes. So it's not even tempting. Would I love to? Yes. I would love to challenge. I don't know if there's anyone here that owns a food business. That's a great opportunity right now. If someone could just make a baked potato with real butter, there is not one in town. So I could at least go there and get a baked potato. And then I could probably have a steak because, you know, steak's pretty easy to find without additives. I'm hoping that'll happen soon. Now my husband still goes out to eat every once in a while, and then my kids, of course, grandparents, they get seen at Arby's here and there. But Arby's meat is okay, the buns are not, so, yeah, surprisingly, Arby's meat's fine, as far as MSG, so. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, the other excitotoxins, L-cysteine is worse than MSG, that was in that taco shell. It's in a lot of bread products, so, be careful, that one and aspartame, which most people know about. Anyone else?
In your book, is that mostly your story, like you just told us, or does it have the
It-
lists? And
It has the list that has sauces, because I was a sauce girl, it's hard for me to get rid of Hidden Valley Ranch. So I have a few things in there that were lifesavers, but, you know, the story really continued on with everything that I learned, shocking things that I learned, and I just can't condense it. There's so much, but there are samples up there. I brought 3 book samples. You guys wanna leaf through them? It's just,
It's an amazing book. We have it here at the library too. It's
the
really
things
good.
I learned are just unreal. So, yes,
No questions, comment.
okay.
You are what you eat.
Oh, gosh, and then not just that, I'm gonna do, I think I'm okay on time. Somebody, am I okay? All right, fragrance. Excitotoxins are not just in food, they're also in this fragrance. So Scentsies, they're in it. Yankee Candles, all sorts of products, they're in it. So what you expose yourself to is also what you are. I could go on and on about that. Yes.
I just have one I feel passionate to share.
Mhm.
My son started out at 13 years old and he had acne, and then it turned into cystic acne, and it was keeping me up at night because it was so bad. His skin was literally exploding and blistering, and at that time he was into football and he was into fitness, and so he was eating the protein bars and eating the protein drinks. Well, after taking Accutane, which is it's really bad for you, we didn't like that we didn't like that. We were nervous about that, but he did take it for about 2 months, and it really wasn't helping. And that's the last resort. After Accutane, there was nothing else, and it still wasn't helping. And we saw on TV where they had a program about whey protein, and whey protein has become problematic for weightlifters, people of health. It's an allergen, and so at 1 month he did not believe us. He said, "No, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't not take my protein." And we said, "Well, we're not going to buy it." And so we didn't buy it for a month, and his acne started to go away.
Well, if you notice, it was on the very top box, whey protein isolate, anything that says, you know, like soy protein, anything protein, and anything isolate, no good. And my family's back there, they can vouch, I had serious dermatological problems, cystic, I had a cyst that drained down into my eye. So my body's been reacting from this stuff for years, and everything that's ever been wrong with me can be explained by it. It's amazing, but it's so simple. What goes in matters.
And the dermatologist it blows my mind because we spent a lot of money on this time, and his skin is ravished from it. And it was just that one simple thing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that they don't, like my situation with all these neurologists, I did write them and everything, and I even offered to donate a book to the patient library at MHNI. They're not interested. Yeah.
I shared with Jodi before we started that my son went through over 4 years of really being sick. Any of you who have ever known anyone with gallbladder disease? Well, first, you rule out food poisoning, then gastric reflux. Then they found out through an endoscopy and lots of outpatient tests that he had H. pylori infection. And thankfully, we are happy with the advice and things our family doctor has done in Arlington to follow through on the diet issues, and recommended after he was treated for this H. pylori infection to eat as green and organic as possible. Studies are proving that more people are reacting to the antibiotics that's in the meat and dairy. And when he was in football, I was the good mom, and my kids don't drink pop, but we really push the milk. So I shared that I'm a private IFD investigator, store, and I read labels. I do everything like that. We buy the foods we eat the most of as organic as possible, potatoes, apples, dairy, all that stuff. And then he also was not better after this, H. pylori was treated, and they found out he had a separate issue, a non-functioning gallbladder. So then he had his gallbladder out, and, fortunately, I had worked for the surgeons in Findlay, and I trusted one of the surgeons there explicitly, and he remembered my son from coming in with me and his sister to get candy and things when I got my paycheck. And he said, I'm gonna take good care of you, but you've got two separate issues, and I think this will take care of about 90% of the problems. He still has some occasional issues, and he's become a sleuth with his diet, and, so have I. But he's real health conscious, and we just buy and eat things differently. And I am real pleased to say that our family doctors have listened to him and did care and concern about the diet issues and things to avoid for his health. So, you know, try to partner with your local doctors if you can. You know, our doctors have been real good with us and with my husband and I on a separate issue, hereditary aspect of cholesterol.
There does seem to be a little underground network with doctors. People are finding the avenues to the doctors that are looking for the causes, and that's nice. And I've seen, there's a group of young mothers on Facebook, and there's a resource for them. Right there, what doctor, you know, really wants to deal with the causes.
So keep advocating for yourself, for your family members if you can.
Anyone else? Yes.
If you follow your plan, will it also help you lose weight by eliminating these?
There is a testimonial in the back of a friend of mine who lost quite a bit of weight. I think she lost 60 pounds. You don't crave food like you do. I mean, I used to have to eat every 2 hours, but now that I'm eating food that's doing something for me, and I don't have that. And I'd like to say I lost weight, but I didn't because I was so sick. I was much skinnier than I am now. So I think it kind of levels, you know, it leads your body to what it needs.